Business Club. Here we are again for our next installment of Money Monday with Fanny Snaith, and you're in for a treat today because today we're going to be looking at money archetypes, and apparently Fanny can act out each one for us so that we can really get a good grip on what they are and how they work and how we're actually not limited by having an archetype, but we can actually use them to our benefit. Or that's what I believe, but Fanny will be getting into that with us in more detail. So just to recap, if you haven't been following the Money Monday series, we've covered last week a fantastic session on debt and looking at how debt can be managed, controlled, how you can get out of debt. And Fanny has a fantastic Snowball Debt Destroyer. Love the name. I love saying it. And she has that available for you if you have a look at last week's session. And then the week before, what did we cover the week before? I think we jumped around quite a lot. Just understanding money. What was it? What did we cover? It was really good. I remember that.
I think it must have been about being present with your finances and just the overview of putting finances into the ballpark, in the fact that, you know, money affects pretty much everything that we do. We carry money everywhere with us. We're spending money even while we sleep, and we have very little focus on it in our lives. And if we don't focus on it, then it's not really going to serve us in the way that we would like it to. So I think it was really about just carving out some time and trying to make money our friend, really, rather than our enemy.
And I do recall you were giving away a spreadsheet that could help us really understand our current position with money. So it was very much about understanding that and how we can get control of it and then start to plan. So we've covered so much. It's been an amazing series, but yet there's still so much more to cover. So without further ado, I really want to see this archetype acted out. So I'm going to let you introduce to us what it is and how we can use it, and we'll just take it from there. So viewers, if you have any questions, please pop them in the comment box and we'll get to them. We will get to them shortly. So over to you, Fanny.
Okay. So
no pressure.
No pressure. So one of the absolutely key things, the three things that I believe are vital for you to be financially successful, is to understand your relationship with money. And some people think, what do you mean, what relationship with money? Well, we do all have a relationship with money, because if you think about it, we make so many decisions in our lives, big decisions, and we try to make these decisions with our heads, but actually we make them with our heart, and we all develop an emotional connection to money at somewhere along the line. And what tends to happen is it tends to trip us up sometimes when we get to adults. The relationship is built up over time, but usually it does start building when we're children. Our financial blueprint is made at quite a young age by looking at all the observations and thinking about the experiences that we have around money as children. And as our lives go through, what we're doing is we're shaping our money story. So if you think about it, every single transaction that you've made with money has a little bit of a story behind it. And by the time that we get to adults, when we haven't had any financial literacy education at school, we've had all these really weird and wonderful messages given to us by our peers and our parents and our teachers and maybe the culture that we live in, we can all sort of end up as being a little bit of a humble jumble of a mishmash of all sorts of different behaviors around money that don't necessarily work together in a very good way, and do not necessarily positively serve us. So my work as a money coach, before I actually even consider doing practical work with my clients, I like to try and find out which money archetypes are running their money show. And I use 8 money archetypes. They were invented by Deborah Price from the Money Coaching Institute in America. And there are 8 money archetypes, which are essentially characters of people that all have very different traits and behaviors around money. And the thing to remember is that these archetypes are not who you are, they're where you are, because it's completely dynamic. When we're choosing to show a type of behavior, that's when we give it a name, because if we can name it, we can change it. But just because you're displaying it a particular type of behavior, that does not make you a certain person. For instance, one of the archetypes is the fool. Now, I would never ever call anybody a fool. I might say that they might be acting like a fool, but they might not. But they're certainly not a fool. And anybody who acts like a fool can actually then focus on that behavior and move to change it. And that's exactly what the archetypes are for, is to realize which of the archetypes are in the forefront of your money life at the moment. Are they the positive ones, or are they the negative ones? And how can we facilitate that change so that you can work with the positive archetypes? So I'm going to go through the 8 archetypes, and I'm going to sort of give you some ideas as to what their traits would be like. And whilst I'm doing it, maybe you could think about, do you recognize any of these kind of behaviors, either in yourself or in your partner or in your relative, your close relatives, or your work colleagues? And it goes a long way to actually start understanding how we are around our money. Okay, so just to give you a quick idea of, just to give you a rundown of all the archetypes, we've got the innocent, we've got the victim, we've got the warrior. Are you okay? You still got your cough. I know, but it's sorry for you. It's horrible. We've got the warrior. I'm just sorry, I've got my other screen here because I'm looking at them and I can just make sure I get them in the right order, because if not I get all pickled. So we've got the innocent, the victim, the warrior, the martyr, the fool, the creator, artist, the tyrant, and the magician. So first of all, I'll start with the innocent. And the innocent is a bit like this. Well, I have been called the innocent archetype, and I mean, the thing is that I've always been rubbish with money. I really don't like talking about money. I've never been comfortable about running money. And my parents certainly never taught me about money. And what they said to me was, they said, Fanny, when you get older, just find a nice partner and who can just look after everything for you. And really, that's what I like to have. I'm looking for somebody to just come along and rescue me and take care of all of those kind of things so that I don't have to deal with them. And I've managed to look really quite happy on the outside most of the time, but actually I'm pretty anxious and fearful about money on the inside. And what I really like to do is I'd like to just put my head in the sand and not have to think about it anymore. That's what I'd like. So if there's anybody out there that'd like to come and look after me, that would be just great. So that's the innocent. The next one we have is the good old victim. Ah, yeah, innocent. Do you know what? I used to be just like you, but you know, my parents told me that I was rubbish with money. I went off and I did the thing I was told to do. I went off and I married my partner, who was actually a financial advisor, so he could look after all my money and it would be absolutely fine. But guess what happened? A year into the marriage, he went off with my best friend and most of our money. So, you know, I thought I was doing the right thing, but of course, you know, it just went wrong. It went wrong. Anyway, I went along to the lawyer to sort out some kind of settlement, because I couldn't just be left with nothing, although I'm sure that's what he intended. So I went and spoke to the lawyer, and he, you know, he did all right, I suppose. But whilst I was there, he said, you're not very good at looking after your money, are you? I'm going to introduce you to somebody who will be able to help you out. His name's Robin Crook. And so he introduced me to Robin, and he was very nice. But guess what happened? Guess what happened? Yeah, that was it. So that was the rest of it. So I started again. So anyway, you innocents, don't look for people to rescue you, because it isn't going to work, right? Just listen to me for a minute. The whole of the finance game is stacked against you. Yeah, there's never any point you trying to make it work, because it's never going to work. It's all just a scam. So just do what you can. Put your money out under the mattress if you want to. That's probably safer. But as far as like just trusting people, it's always going to go wrong. So just stick to your guns, and that's that. So that's the victim. The next one we have is the warrior. Hello. I am the warrior. I am the archetype of action. I like to get things done, right? I am really financially successful. My father taught me to put away 10%, save 10% of every single wage check that I have ever earned, which I did. I then went on to study the markets and investments, and I really enjoy working with money. And I'm very powerful when it comes to money. I'm confident, I'm very wise, but I also like to help other people. I like to help people be as successful as I am. And actually, when I get a good team around me, I'm really, really loyal and tend to look after my team. And I'm excellent at helping people and myself set goals. I'm very goal orientated, and I can motivate my team to usually reach their goals. So I would say to you, if you would like to come and be successful and be great with money, come and join my team. So that's the warrior. And then we have the martyr. Oh, honestly, I used to be a warrior. I did used to be a warrior. But, being the martyr, I am the archetype of service. So it's my job to give and to give and to give a little bit more and some more. And that's what happened. I just gave and wanted to rescue people because I have got a really good heart and I do want people to be successful. But somewhere along the line, the boundaries between where I end and people who need my help begin have just become all wishy-washy. And it's all just become a little bit of a mess, and nothing seems to be turning out the way that it's supposed to be. And, it's all very disappointing because I've given so much of my time. I've given so much of my time and my service to help other people, just looking after people. But now I've got to a point where I'm not able to receive myself anymore. And I just feel myself giving so much until I feel depleted. And I have no energy left. So even though I am wise, it's time for me now to start thinking about myself and going off and looking after myself. I will find time to look after people in the future, but I need to have some self-love upon myself right now. So I'm going to go now. And that's all I have to say. Thank you very much. And then we have the Fool, the lovely Fool. Woo! Hi, people. Oh, my God. Things are just amazing at the moment. They really are. Do you know what? I have been looking for the ideal business opportunity for so long, and I have found it, right? I met this guy last week, and he's sharing his business with me. I'm so grateful. So he said, right, what I have to do, it's an MLM business or something like that. And all I've got to do is I've got to invest with him £10,000 to be part of his business. And it's just the most amazing business. It's a vitamin tablet, right? It's about that big. You need a sort of plunger to put it down. But apparently it's a tablet that just fixes absolutely everything. So I give him my 10,000 quid. I don't actually have £10,000 at the moment. Do you think you could lend me £10,000 so I could be a part of this business? Because if I get to be a part of this business, you could come in too. You could be part of my upline, my sideline, my downline, whatever you call it. Anyway, those are all the details. So I give him £10,000 to go into this business, and it's just going to be amazing. And there's going to be a big launch, wait for it, in Las Vegas. So we're all going to go to Las Vegas. We're going to get a big party bus. It's going to be so much fun. And after the launch, we're going to go to the tables. And I have just got the most amazing tip for you at the roulette table. Would you let me tell you what it is? All you do is you just put a bet on each one of the circle, and you're going to win. So there you go. I know that some people call me a bit of a fool when it comes to money, but life's a roller coaster, isn't it? Life is a roller coaster, but this guy is absolutely a dead cert. He's had loads of jobs before, but this one, his first wage check was $50,000. I want a piece of that. So who wants to lend me $10,000? And who would like to come with me to Las Vegas on the party bus. Can't wait to hear from you. Thanks. So that's the Fool. The next one is the Creator Artist. Namaste. I am the Creator Artist. I do not really like to partake in this material world. I have my own yoga business, and on the side I have a macrame business too, and I also have a hobby of basket weaving. I find it very difficult living in this material world because my spiritual journey is very important to me, very important to me. My father, who I have actually asked him to invest in my yoga business, tells me that what I'm believing in is all just a load of old hogwash and I should go and get a proper job. Well, I'm going to refuse to do that because whilst I was a child, all my dad did was work and work and work. And that's not what life is all about. I am going to continue on my spiritual journey. I do struggle a little bit with my conflicting view around money because I like to be able to buy nice things, but then I don't wish to live in this nasty material world that we see splashed everywhere. I like to spend time on my own journey, on my yoga journey, and I'm a seeker of truth. Anyway, I have just launched a new yoga course. It's a 3-month course, and I'm offering a discount for people who would like to sign up today. And the discount is 95%, and you could come to the first 3 classes free. So come with me on my spiritual journey and enjoy the courses that I have to give, first of all, as a gift from me to you. Namaste. That's the Creator Artist. And then we have the Tyrant. Do you know what? Those Creator Artists, what a complete and utter waste of time and space they are. We don't need people on spiritual journeys. We need people who are going to be business orientated. You know, yoga class is 95% off. We need to have business, service business, oil business, computer businesses. We need to get the whole of industry moving so that we can all earn so much money. We all just need to earn more and more money. You can never have enough money. And I don't care what you say. You might say that you don't like hanging around people with nice cars and nice clothes and nice jewelry, but I know you do. Well, if you want a hint from me on how to get there, it's easy. You just want to get focused and wipe out your competition so that you will be top of the tree, so that you can keep that bank account bursting with cash. I have plenty of money in my bank account, but it'll never be enough. Actually, the reason that I want lots of money is so that I can impress people, really. Because actually I have a real fear of being alone. I have a real fear of not being enough for other people. You know, I like to have lots of nice things. And if I have lots of nice things, then I can control people with my money and I can buy them nice things so that they feel that I'm better than them and that they can be owing to me. But I will just continue to put on this hard front. Nobody will ever see my softer side because I'm very unforgiving and I'm very manipulative and I'm very rigid and I'm controlling. But hey, I am very successful. So you heed me. We don't need any of those Creator Artists. Just get with the program again and get earning money. Okay, and the final one is the Magician. And the Magician is the archetype of faith, trust, and balance. Hi, I'm the Magician. And I am familiar with all the other archetypes. And I strive to help them in every way that I can. But also looking after myself is very important. And I'm on a spiritual journey like the creator artist. But I have found a balance in my view of money and how the flow of money keeps the world going. I'm very trusting. I'm very aware. I'm optimistic. I know that if I keep on doing good things every day, just keep showing up, doing the right things and believing in myself and believing in the world, then everything is going to be fine. The tyrant who just keeps wanting more and more money will eventually learn that it's the work that we do inside ourselves that's more important than how we appear on the outside. Our inner world is so much more important than the outer world. Yes, I do want to have money, but I'm not so attached to it that it's something that I have to have. I have a detached view. Money will come in its own sweet way when I do the right things. So I'm financially balanced. And I hope that everybody can work towards being a magician like myself, who is the archetype of faith, trust, and balance. So there you go. Those are the 8 archetypes. I'm wondering, Angela, did you see any of the archetypes in yourself?
Oh my goodness, that's just scary. The first question I would have is, are there any that are right or wrong, or do they all have positives and negatives?
Right, okay.
Like really scary and like wrong, does that mean that there are some who are wrong and some who are right, or does each archetype have a negative and a positive?
Right. The 3 archetypes that we are wanting to have as the leaders in our money story are clearly the magician, the warrior, but also the creator artist too. We all want to have that softer side. The innocent, no. Victim, no. Martyr, no. Fool, no. But a little bit of fool is lovely, because we all need to have a little bit of fun every now and again. So we don't want to count the fool out, but what we want to do is we want to temper the fool so that he isn't reckless, because the fool can tend to be very reckless. And if you think about it, for women in business, there are also, I hadn't mentioned this before, but there are also business archetypes, and the equivalent of the fool in business archetypes is the gambler. What? And if you don't have some gambler in your business, you're never going to move. You're never going to grow.
Yeah, you'll never take risks.
Exactly. You have to take some. You have to take some kind of risks. As far as the other ones are concerned, tyrant. No. No. Who have I missed out? I think that's probably it, isn't it? Yeah. So really, the 3 that we're wanting to, the 3 that I coach people to have running their money shows are the warrior, the magician, and the creator artist.
So what do you do if you recognize one of the not so good archetypes in yourself and you're like, now what? I'm that person. That's horrible. Panic, panic, panic. So what do you do?
So the first thing we say to ourselves is, I am not that person. I am behaving like that archetype. So it's not I am. Instantly. Yeah, it's really important.
Not your identity.
Yes, to not actually say I am this. It's I am behaving like this. So the first thing is to be able to recognize it. So let's say, for instance, let's go back to the innocent, because that's a really really common one. The one that wants to put their head in the sand. I usually call the innocent one a bit like Dorothy from the Wizard of Oz. The one what she does is she speaks to the Tin Man and the Tin Man, the Scarecrow, and the Lion, doesn't she, to find the answers that she wants to be successful and also to be able to get home. And then she realizes that the wizard wasn't actually who he's supposed to be. And in the end, all she had to do is click her own heels, and it took her back to where she wanted to go, to Kansas. But let's say, for instance, somebody's sitting there going, oh yeah, that's me. I just want to put my head in the sand and I don't want to have to deal with it anymore. And I get anxious about money and I get fearful about money. And if somebody could just come along and rescue me, that would be great. So the first thing I would do is I would have been looking at my client. Sorry about that. I would have been looking at my client's money bio, their money biography, which is the chronological story of their life and money. And I would have been trying to find out where that stemmed from. And if I could try and find out where that stemmed from, that gives me a really good anchor as to how to deal with it. So for instance, if somebody sees the innocent archetype in themselves and they think, well, I just don't like to talk about money, ask yourself, did you talk about money with your family when you were a child? Because if you didn't, the chances are that's going to be a pretty good reason why you don't want to talk about it now. And then what I would do is I would take one of the biggest challenges that the innocent had, let's say anxious about money, anxious about not looking at her financial situation. And what I would then use is I would use a process called small but significant steps. So we would take the feeling of anxiety and we would look at the opposite state of, say, confident and relaxed. And in that particular person's situation, I would go through 3 steps on how to get there, because you can't just say to somebody, well, you're the innocent. This is what the innocent does. This is what you're acting like. Don't do it anymore. It isn't going to work. So we say, okay, so you're feeling anxious. What specifically do you feel anxious about? I don't like opening my bank statements. I don't like opening any financial pieces of paper that come through, envelopes that come through the letterbox. I said, okay. And she might not know why. She might not have a reason why. She doesn't want to see it. She doesn't want to do whatever. So I will then work a strategy, and that strategy might be, okay, so when you get a letter that comes through the post, guess what's in it. Why don't you have a guess? And I've actually had people who feel fear and anxiety about opening envelopes to actually try and create a made up bank statement before they actually look at the real one. And it was really funny, actually. I was talking to a lady who I did this with last week, and she said, oh my God, that day when you told me to do this, I don't know what you did, but it's just completely changed me. But anyway, I would go to 3 small but significant steps. So number 1, try and imagine what's in the envelope. 2, try and create your bank statements with a piece of paper and pen as much as you can. And then 3, find somebody who you can sit with, or maybe your coach, to actually open an envelope and let's see how it goes. So it's just trying to move from one state to another state for individual things that would help them. So let's say, for instance, one of your listeners who's sitting there thinking, oh, that's me, or, I feel fearful about money. Try and pinpoint where it comes from, and then work out what the opposite state is, and then try and put 3 things in between where you are now and where you want to be to ease your journey across.
Yeah, that makes sense. Makes it like baby steps instead of you have to make this giant leap of faith.
That's right.
Yeah, and also I imagine you feel a sense of reward and accomplishment with each step.
Oh God, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I had one lady come and work with me, and when she arrived, she was a really big innocent. But she also had some victim in there, and she also had quite a high fool. Innocent and fool go quite hard, I can imagine together. And it's really interesting that when you coach people away from the innocent and the fool, they become very, very good magicians and warriors.
Okay.
Yeah, it's really good. Yeah. So she came to me, and her relationship with her husband was awful, because every time they talked about money, they argued. They didn't have any debt problems, but she didn't like talking about money. She felt really uncomfortable about money. So we went through her bio, and then we went through all of this, and we coached on the innocent and coached on the fool and the victim. And it was 5 weeks, and she took over the family finances.
Wow, that's amazing.
It's really amazing. And she still is running the family finances as well. That was about a year ago, and I've spoken to her recently, and she's still doing really well. And another technique that we use is we get very familiar with asking the question, which archetype is in the room? So when you how you do something, like you buy something or you're going to buy something, you say, which archetype's in the room? I go, or when you wake up in the morning, you go, which archetype do I feel like I've woken up with? Have I woken up with my warrior or have I woken up with my innocent? And it's once you can feel, and also put the blame on one of these archetypes, which is great, you can go, God, I really feel like an innocent today. Okay, I better go and find my warrior boots and my magician's cape and get down to something, because I am not prepared to be an innocent all today.
Yes, or perhaps avoid putting yourself in particular situations.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's a bit weird. Yeah, definitely. And I mean, like, and it happens, it's not just with money. So for instance, I'm trying not to drink coffee because I like a really nice milky coffee with sugar in it, right? And I just think, if I want to do that, and I've got this dress that I want to fit into by the end of June, so it's breaking the pattern.
Yes.
So I'm sitting there this morning going, oh, I really want a cup of coffee. I really, really, really want a cup of coffee.
You're making me feel like coffee now.
Well, I just stood up, went and got a drink of water, and went out into the garden instead. Just do something different. Yeah. I was talking to a lady at the weekend who's a spender, and I said, so you have all your passwords set up online? Oh yeah. I just, you can just click, cancel them all, delete them. Delete all your passwords on your credit cards.
Get in.
Really? Yeah. I said, when you go shopping, put your credit card in your shoe.
Makes sense. Yeah.
So it's just putting in gates and balance. It's all sense, but it's very difficult to see what we're doing ourselves, which is why it's really good to go through these processes. Yeah. Did I tell your listeners about the money quiz?
I think it's going to take us to help us find money archetypes.
That's right.
So yes, so let's end off with that then.
So on my website, www.fannysnaith.com, there is a money type quiz. And what it is, it's just a whole load of words. It doesn't work on a mobile, by the way. It only works on a laptop, a tablet, or a desktop. There are a whole lot of words. And what you do is sit and shut your eyes for a minute and just think about money. Just focus on money rather than just giving me a big brain dump. Just focus on money and then go through and tick the words that you feel relates to you and money. Now, there might be some words there where you think, I don't know, sometimes I am, sometimes I'm not. Just make your best guess and go, am I more or less? And tick the words. And then once you've done that, there's an option at the bottom to sign up for my newsletter. I don't bombard people with emails. And also there's a little checkbox there for a free money archetype consultation as well, which you can have. And then you send that off and then you get the result. You get the results straight away. Scroll down and it'll show you the percentages of which archetypes you are. And I'm always it's really good. And I'm always really interested to know how accurate people think it is. And just how they feel, how the results have come through. But they do tend to be pretty good. It's a pretty good test, pretty good quiz.
FannySnaith.com.
Yeah.
.com.
Yeah.
I'll put it in the on-screen update so people can have that in the comments. And I'm definitely going to go away and do that as well now. So there we go. FannySnaith.com. Is that correct?
Yeah.
I'm going to there. We have run over time, but also there's an echo that's developed for some reason. I think you would have really hit on a lot of truth for people. So people will probably have to go away and digest and rewatch this and then come back and leave comments and get in touch. So thank you so much for your time today. And I'm really looking forward to hearing what people come back with. So guys, go do the test, go have a think, and then come back and leave your comments. And then Fanny can jump back on and read your comments and respond a bit later when you've had some time to process all of this. Yeah. So thank you so much. And we will see you all not next week because it's bank holiday, but the following week with Money Monday. So have a great Monday. Bye.
Thanks, Angela.
Okay, bye.